That was a massive whiff by the Browns. And, I think that might be where the big rift between Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski came into play, because I think obviously Andrew Berry took a liking to Shedeur Sanders, and I think he probably would have taken Shedeur Sanders earlier in the draft. But this is just my belief. Again, no reporting, no facts, no nothing. This is just my speculation. But I'm speculating that Kevin Stefanski is the one who really fell in love with Dillon Gabriel, made the strong push to get Dillon Gabriel. And so I think Andrew Berry said, okay, fine. Then this is what I'm going to do at the top of the draft. I'm going to trade back, take some of these players, fill out the roster where I want to. And then, Kevin got his wish to get Dillon. It's just such a shame because, we could have had the offensive guard that the Patriots took after that Dillon Gabriel pick, Jared Wilson. We could have had Xavier Watts, who I wanted at that pick. I wanted Xavier Watts, the safety who the Falcons ended up taking out of Notre Dame. I wanted him in the second round, okay? And when he was available late third round, it was like that was a no-brainer pick. We should have taken him. Instead, we wasted a pick on Dillon Gabriel, who I don't think will ever be suitable for the NFL. He might be able to fill in relief here and there, maybe take a spot start as a backup a couple times over his career. But, the whole sentiment that, Dillon Gabriel's got a long NFL career, he'll be a backup in this league for a long time, that I don't see as the future.
What is going on in the NFL right now is completely unheard of, completely mind-blowing. And honestly, it's the kind of story that Hollywood screenwriters would turn down because it's too unrealistic, too far-fetched, and too hard to believe. But this isn't a story, people. This is real life, happening right in front of us. What we're seeing is a cultural phenomenon that is shaking the very foundations of professional football and making even the most vocal critics rethink everything they thought they knew about Shedeur Sanders. Tony Grossi, a Cleveland Browns beat reporter, has been covering the team for decades and has seen many players come and go through the organization. A member of the media who has been very skeptical and critical of Shedeur Sanders since he got to Cleveland just did something that no one saw coming. He changed his mind completely. He changed the story. He told everyone on the air that Shedeur Sanders has traits that set him apart from other rookie quarterbacks and make him special. That means he's going to keep getting better and better until he's something really great. This is the same Tony Gross who asked if Shedeur was ready to start. This is the same reporter who said that the Browns should look into other quarterbacks. Shedeur's supporters have said that this media personality has an agenda against the young quarterback. And now he's talking about Shedeur's professionalism, self-awareness, maturity, and way of playing the game in public.
Now, Tony Grossi, if you guys are familiar, he is the beat reporter here in my area in northeastern Ohio who does not give any good reviews or have anything good to say about Shedeur. Not until he put something up on Instagram. I am going to read to you guys in my notes, because I just had to write this down, exactly what he put on the post. Mr. Tony Grossi said, "You cannot put your rookie quarterback, no matter how good he is, from a 14-0, Cleveland being down 14-0, at the goal line almost at every single drop." He also stated that Shedeur was among one of the few players of the Cleveland Browns who showed up to play. I was shocked to see him put that on Instagram because he has not said anything positive about Shedeur since the Browns drafted him. Okay? So thank you, Tony, because I would love to piggyback off of this because he is absolutely right.
When the people who doubted you the most start to believe in you and say they see something special, that's when you know something amazing is happening. But that's only the start of this completely crazy story. At the same time that Tony Grossi is having his come-to-Jesus moment about Shedeur Sanders, the Pro Bowl voting results are coming in and showing something that has the whole football world going crazy. Shedeur Sanders is a rookie quarterback who has only started 5 games this season. He sat on the bench for the first half of the year. The Browns have been starting other quarterbacks, but the one who has been fighting against sabotage from the organization and negative media coverage since day one is getting more Pro Bowl votes than Bo Nix. Because it's so shocking, so unexpected, and so completely against what everyone else would think, let me say it again. Shedeur Sanders has more votes for the Pro Bowl than Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos in every game this season. Bo Nix is currently leading his team to the playoffs with 12 wins and 2 losses. Bo Nix has been in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year all season long. Bo Nix has had every chance to show off his skills week after week for a whole season. The Dever creditly that Shedeur Sanders, who has only played in 5 games, has more Pro Bowl votes than Bo Nix. If you're a casual football fan who just heard about this story, you might think that can't be true, that I must be making it up to make it sound better, or that the numbers must be wrong in some way. I promise you, though, that this is real. This is really happening, and the effects are huge. What we're seeing shows that Shedeur Sanders is not just another rookie quarterback trying to make it in the NFL. He's a cultural icon. He is the kind of TV that people set their clocks by. Fans of all teams want to see him play, no matter how they feel about his famous father or any other ideas they may have had before. The fact that Shedeur has only played 5 games and is still ahead of Bo Nix in Pro Bowl voting says everything you need to know about how popular he is, how much of an impact he has, and how excited he makes people every time he steps on the field. It's not just about the numbers, even though his stats in those 5 starts have been good. It's not just about winning and losing. He has shown that he can compete and lead his team to wins, but this is about something bigger and more basic. This is about a player who makes people want to watch, who makes TV moments that everyone has to see. People may not like Shedeur Sanders for personal reasons, or they may have formed negative opinions about him based on what they read in the news, or how they feel about his father, or any other reason they can think of. But there is one thing that everyone must agree on. Everyone wants to watch Shedeur Sanders play. People watch more when he starts. People are very active on social media when he's on the field. When he makes plays, clips spread like wildfire. He's one of the most famous athletes in all of sports today, not just football. And he's done it in only 5 starts. Take a moment to think about how crazy that is. 5 games, 5 times. Shedeur Sanders became one of the most talked about, watched, and interesting people in the NFL after just 1 game. Shedeur has gotten more brand recognition and fan engagement in 5 games than most players do in their whole careers. Every week this rookie plays, he gets more attention and views than veteran quarterbacks who have been in the league for 10 years. Let's look at what Tony actually said, because his comments show a big change in how one of Cleveland's most well-known media figures is talking about Shedeur Sanders, and it's important to look at what he said. Grossi was talking about how Shedeur looks at his own performance on a recent show, and he said something that should make everyone pay attention. He said that Shedeur was very honest about his own play, very hard on himself, and never exaggerated the good things about his performance. He also said that Shedeur was very professional about self-evaluation. Grossi said that Shedeur is harder on himself than his critics, his father Deion Sanders, or any of his fans. And then GCE made a prediction that is very important coming from someone who has been doubtful. He said that this self-awareness and professional way of criticizing oneself is exactly why Shedeur will keep getting better as his career goes on. If you've been following this story closely, you know that Tony Grossi hasn't always been so nice to Shedeur Sanders since he got to Cleveland. People have asked questions. People have said they have doubts. Some people have said that the Browns should think about other options. So for Grossi to now publicly praise Shedeur's professionalism, maturity, self-awareness, and plans for continued improvement is a big change in how he sees things. What happened? What made this change in tone and attitude happen? Did someone from the Browns talk to him about being more fair in his coverage? Did he wake up one morning and decide to treat Shedeur differently? Has Shedeur's constant positivity and professionalism finally gotten through to the skeptics, even when things are bad? Or has Grossi just watched enough tape, seen enough games, and seen enough proof that he can't deny what's clear to millions of fans across the country? Whatever the reason for this change in his commentary, the fact is that one of Shedeur's most well-known media critics in Cleveland is now publicly recognizing traits that suggest this young quarterback has real star potential. That's when you know you're doing something special, when you start to win over people who were already doubting you. Even though Tony Grossi's comments are very important, the Pro Bowl voting numbers that have come out are so amazing that they almost overshadow them. The report makes it very clear that Shedeur Sanders has gotten more Pro Bowl votes this year than Bo Nix. And the fact that their seasons were so different makes this even more impressive and harder to explain with normal analysis. Bo Nix is 12 years and 2 months old. He is taking the Denver Broncos to what is almost certain to be a playoff spot. He started every game this season, which gave him the most chances to show off his skills. He's been one of the most reliable rookie quarterbacks in the league, running games well, making smart choices, and helping his team win important games. By every normal way of judging things, Bo Nix should be beating Shedeur Sanders in Pro Bowl voting. But he isn't. Bo Nix is behind Shedeur Sanders in Pro Bowl votes, even though he has played more than twice as many games, has a much better record, and has every possible advantage in terms of playing time and opportunity. How do you make sense of that? How do you make sense of those numbers? How do you make sense of a situation where a player who has only played 5 games is doing better than a player who has played the whole season and is leading his team to the playoffs? There is only one explanation that makes sense, and only one conclusion that the evidence supports. Shedeur Sanders is a box office hit. He is on TV every week. Fans all over the country want to see him in the Pro Bowl, no matter what his stats are, what his record is, or any other traditional measure of success. When fans get to vote on who they want to see compete at the Pro Bowl, more of them are choosing Shedeur Sanders over Bo Nix. That's not a bad thing to say about Bo Nix, who is having a great first season and should be proud of everything he's done. This is just a way of saying that Shedeur Sanders gets a level of interest, excitement, and engagement that is very rare, especially for a player who has only started 5 games. The numbers are true, the votes are what they are, and they tell us a lot about how Shedeur has changed the league, and how connected he is to football fans all over the country. What do you think will happen if Shedeur Sanders really does make the Pro Bowl? What do you think would happen if a quarterback who only started 5 games this season was chosen for the Pro Bowl instead of veterans who played the whole season? The conversation would be completely crazy. Sports talk radio would go crazy. The debate would take over all of social media. People would write think pieces about what this means for the Pro Bowl voting system, how we judge success and popularity in professional sports, and how we evaluate rookies. The comments on posts about Shedeur's Pro Bowl voting numbers have been crazy, and they show how divisive this young quarterback has become. Some fans are happy about this because it shows that Shedeur is more popular and famous than traditional measures show. Other fans are very angry and say it's a joke, ask how this could happen, and are outraged that a 5-game starter could get more votes than established players. One person said that this account must be joking because they can't or won't believe that the voting numbers are real. Another person said it was delusional, as if the real vote totals are somehow a delusion instead of the truth. Another person asked if the Pro Bowl is the worst All-Star game, which means that these voting results show that the whole system is broken. Another person said, "This is gross, and I think a lot of people are going to get sick if these voting trends keep up." When you look at the profiles of the people who are most upset and angry about Shedeur's Pro Bowl voting numbers, you can see clear patterns. In some ways, a lot of the accounts look alike. A lot of them seem to be fairly new, or don't do much besides leave bad reviews about Shedeur. A lot of them look like burner accounts or fake profiles made just for the purpose of trolling without having to use their real names to back up their comments. People who are most upset about Shedeur's success, popularity, and Pro Bowl voting numbers often don't want to put their real names and identities on their negative comments. They use fake names to hide. They make up fake profiles. They work in the dark because they know they're trolling. They know that their criticism isn't based on real football analysis. They know that history will show that they were wrong about Shedeur Sanders. People who support Shedeur, on the other hand, are more than happy to publicly and proudly stand by their opinions. They know how talented he is and how much he's done in just 5 starts. They don't have to hide. They don't need fake accounts. They can point to real evidence, like how well he did on the field, how many votes he got, and how well he did in the polls to prove that they believe in this young quarterback's skills and potential. Shedeur's critics need to accept the truth, even if they don't want to, even if it doesn't fit their story, even if it doesn't fit their ideas about him, and even if it doesn't fit their ideas about him. That's not an exaggeration. That's not an overstatement. That's just a way of saying what's really going on. A rookie quarterback who has only started 5 games is getting more Pro Bowl votes than established starters and other rookies who have played full seasons. That's the level of fame. That's the area of cultural phenomena. That's the kind of effect that goes beyond what a rookie would expect. If Shedeur Sanders was just another player, and not very interesting or deserving of attention, the haters wouldn't be so obsessed with talking about him. They wouldn't make fake accounts to talk bad about him. They wouldn't be filling every post about him with hate and anger. The fact that they can't stop talking about him, can't stop commenting on every story about him, and can't stop being angry and frustrated about how well he's doing, that shows they know something important is going on, even if they don't want to say so in public. People don't pay attention to things they don't care about. People scroll past things that don't interest them. But if they're constantly commenting, obsessively following every story, and using all their time and energy to tear someone down, that shows that they know how important and influential that person is on some level. Every time the Shedeur Sanders haters comment, engage, or show that they can't ignore him, they are proving how important he is. People often ask if the Pro Bowl is the worst all-star game in professional sports, so it's worth talking about. Critics say that a lot of players turn down Pro Bowl invitations, that the game isn't very competitive, and that injuries and other things mean that the rosters are always changing before the game. That is all true. There are a lot of problems with the Pro Bowl as an all-star game. But critics who use that argument to downplay Shedeur's Pro Bowl voting success miss this. The fan voting part of Pro Bowl selection is one of the most direct and democratic ways to measure player popularity and fan engagement in all of professional sports. When fans can vote for who they want to see, who they're most excited about, or who they find most interesting, those votes show that they really care about the show. This was not another influenced by what the media or experts say. So yes, there might be problems with the Pro Bowl game itself, but the voting numbers are real. Those show what fans really want and how much they are really involved. And if a player who has only started 5 games is getting more votes than players who have started the whole season, that says a lot about how much that player has affected the game, no matter what you think about the Pro Bowl as an event. Some fans have already said they will vote for Shedeur Sanders even more often now that they have seen these numbers. They want to see him make the Pro Bowl roster and see the complete chaos that would follow. Think about what the news would say if it really happened. Think about the arguments on every sports show. Think about the essays that will come out about what this means for the NFL, how we judge rookies, and how we measure success and star power in professional football. The Browns must be feeling a mix of emotions about these Pro Bowl voting numbers. From a business and marketing point of view, it's obviously good that your rookie quarterback is getting this much attention and interest from fans. Shedeur Sanders is bringing in more viewers, merchandise sales, social media interactions, and general interest in the Cleveland Browns than they have in years. That's useful. That can be measured. That means more money and more relevance. But these voting numbers make it even worse that the coaching staff decided to keep Shedeur on the bench for the first half of the season. How do you explain that a player who was getting Pro Bowl level fan support after just 5 starts was sitting on your bench while other quarterbacks were having trouble? How do you explain that choice when the proof shows that fans really wanted to see him play? How can you keep him out of the starting lineup when he's getting more Pro Bowl votes than full-season starters? Kevin Stefanski and the Browns coaching staff must be under a lot of stress right now. Every good thing that happens to Shedeur Sanders, every great game he plays, and every Pro Bowl vote he gets are all reminders of how much they missed by keeping him on the bench for so long. What would his stats look like if he had played in all 16 games? If he had a whole season to show off his skills, how many votes would he have gotten for the Pro Bowl? If the Browns had stuck with him from the start, what would their record be? Those are questions that don't have answers, but Browns fans, media members, and ownership have to be thinking about them. The comments by Tony Grossi that Shedeur will keep getting better only add to this stress. If he's going to keep getting better, if his trajectory is going up, and if his best football is still ahead of him, then every game he didn't play at the start of the season is a missed chance for both the player and the team. The comparison to Bo Nix is especially interesting because it shows how these two rookie quarterbacks have taken different paths this season and how their teams have treated them. The Denver Broncos made a commitment to Bo Nix from the start. They made him their starter, built their offense around what he was good at, and gave him every chance to succeed or fail based on how well he played. They didn't take him out of the game when things got tough. When the game was on the line, they didn't pull him in favor of veterans. They believed in their assessment, stuck to their plan, and let their rookie get better by playing in real games. The result is that Bo Nix is 12-2, leading his team to the playoffs and having a rookie season that most people would say was very successful. Still, even with all of that, and all of the chances and playing time he's had, he's getting fewer Pro Bowl votes than Shedeur Sanders. What does that say about how popular and talented these two players are? The Cleveland Browns did the opposite with Shedeur Sanders. A lot of experts thought he was good enough to go in the first or second round, but they took him in the fifth round. They kept him on the bench behind more experienced players. They didn't let him practice with the first team. They brought him in cold when the game was tough. Instead of helping him succeed, it seemed like they were working against him. They did everything they could to make his chances smaller and his effect smaller. But even with all of that resistance from the organization, all of those problems, and having played only a few of the games that Bo Nix has, Shedeur Sanders is getting more votes for the Pro Bowl. He's getting more fans interested. He's making things more exciting and interesting. No matter what organizations do to stop them, he's showing that talent and star power will always win out. If the voting trends keep up and Shedeur really does make the Pro Bowl, it will start a huge conversation about how NFL teams pick and train new quarterbacks. People will start to wonder if it's a good idea to keep talented rookies on the bench instead of veterans. It's going to make people rethink how much time young quarterbacks need to play before they can help. And it will be an example of how fan interest and engagement don't always match up with traditional football stats like wins and losses. Some of the most negative comments about Shedeur's Pro Bowl voting come from people with profiles that look suspicious. People who hide behind anonymous accounts, and people who won't stand behind their opinions with their real names. That tells you everything you need to know about how real that criticism is. You don't need to be anonymous to do real football analysis. Real criticism doesn't need to hide behind fake accounts. You can express real doubt while putting your name and reputation on the line. People who are most scared and insecure about Shedeur's success, popularity, and Pro Bowl voting numbers are the ones who are most bothered by them. They don't want to be wrong. They're worried that people will question their knowledge of football. They're worried that Shedeur's success goes against the stories they've told and the predictions they've made in public. So, they attack him from behind fake accounts, hoping to bring him down before he gets even bigger. But they don't get this. What they don't understand because they're scared and negative. You can't stop talent. You can't keep star power down forever. Fans will always be able to recognize and celebrate players who excite them and make them think. Shedeur Sanders will keep growing, learning, and doing well, no matter how many anonymous accounts say bad things about him. The Pro Bowl votes show that real fans who watch games and support the league see something special in this young quarterback. Tony Grossi's change in tone means more than just one reporter changing their mind. It marks the start of a bigger change in how people who were once doubtful are talking about and judging Shedeur Sanders. When you start to hear people who used to be skeptical admit that someone has good qualities and real talent, that's a sign that the story is changing. That perception is changing, and the evidence is becoming too strong to ignore. More people in the media will follow Grossi's lead. Analysts are going to be more honest about what they see on the field. As Shedeur continues to prove himself, more critics will tone down their criticism. You start to look foolish instead of smart when you keep denying obvious talent, dismissing clear evidence of ability, and ignoring undeniable results. The smart critics, the ones who care about their reputation, will start to change their minds before they get too far behind. The Pro Bowl voting numbers are just the latest proof that Shedeur Sanders is not just another rookie quarterback. In terms of popularity and fan appeal, he's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. He is a cultural icon who goes beyond the usual football statistics. He's a player who makes things happen off the field as well, like getting more people to watch, engage with, and be interested in the sport. 5 games. That's all it took. 5 starts for Shedeur Sanders to get fans to support him at the Pro Bowl level. 5 chances for him to show that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league when it comes to fan interest and appeal. 5 chances for him to show the football world what Browns fans who have been watching him closely already knew. He's one of a kind. He's not the same. He is the real thing. Now, think about what will happen when he starts 10 times, 15 times, or even a whole season as the clear starter, gets all the first-team practice reps, and has the offense built around his strengths. Think about how many votes he will get for the Pro Bowl then. Think about how much more support his fans will give him when he gets the same chance that players like Bo Nix have had all season. The Browns have found something special in Shedeur Sanders, even though they haven't always handled him well, and their choice to keep him on the bench for so long was questionable. They have a quarterback who gets people interested in a cultural phenomenon in just 5 games. They have a player who brings in viewers and keeps them interested at rates that even veteran stars would be jealous of. They have a player who is getting Pro Bowl votes even though he doesn't play much. What they do with this chance, how they help him grow in the future, and whether they fully commit to building around him or keep hedging and creating uncertainty will decide if this amazing Pro Bowl voting story is just the start of something legendary or a frustrating tale of wasted potential.